Hi, Paris Schutz here, everybody. We've been following the deployment of the National Guard. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has confirmed they are on the ground in the Chicago area. Our cameras have spotted members at a staging area near Joliet in the south suburbs. And now we are joined by Illinois U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth. Senator Duckworth, thanks for joining us. At this point, do you know anything more about this deployment, how many troops there are, and where it is anticipated they're going to be going?
Hi, thank you. Well, I think it's about 300 Texas Guardsmen, about 200 Illinois Guardsmen who, in the case of the Illinois National Guardsmen, have been activated against our governor's wishes, and also them sending in the Texas National Guard is also against our governor's wishes and against what the state of Illinois wants. I mean, Donald Trump federalizing National Guard and sending troops into Chicago is dangerous, it's un-American, and it's unconstitutional. It's an abuse of our military that's intended to instill fear and threaten American civil rights. And, you know, we simply cannot let this happen. They're here. We're going to treat them with respect, but we're also going to make it clear that this is not welcome.
And a judge is going to rule on this, possibly putting an injunction in place to block this by Thursday if they follow what happened in Oregon. Is there a difference here with the law, Senator Duckworth, if the Guard is just here to guard federal government assets or immigration agents versus law enforcement, which we know the Guard is not legally allowed to engage in law enforcement activities?
Yeah, so then they end up doing what they were doing in Washington, D.C., which is walking up and down the streets picking up garbage. It's an abuse and misuse of our nation's military. So then they're not actually doing any policing functions. You have to understand, military men and women, Guard or active duty troops, are not allowed, they can't make arrests. They're not trained to do law enforcement. If Donald Trump cared deeply about law enforcement, then he wouldn't quite literally defund the police. He shifted $800 million that Congress appropriated for violence protection, for supporting our police officers, and yet he shifted that, and he's not coordinated with local law enforcement. He's been looking for any pretext to call the National Guard into our state, again, to intimidate Americans. And frankly, for Governor Abbott, if he cares deeply about crime rates, maybe he should send his National Guard into Houston, a city that has a higher crime rate than Chicago.
And we know that Governor Abbott was not in favor of losing control of his National Guard and might not be in favor of the shoe being on the other foot. But Senator Duckworth, while I have you, I have to ask you about the shutdown. Now we're seeing FAA staffing problems, air traffic control staffing problems. How widespread is the air travel disruption going to be if something is done soon?
Well, this is the decision of the Republicans who control the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. I remember that Speaker Johnson sent the House of Representatives home. They haven't been back in Congress for 18 days, so there's nobody to negotiate with. President Trump and Senate Republicans could work to end this shutdown. They're the ones who shut it down if they would just negotiate with Democrats. President Trump hasn't sat down with Democrats since before the shutdown happened. So instead of working to save middle-class families and working Americans from higher health care costs, they are simply standing around pointing blames and lying about what's happening. Frankly, this is about making sure that your health insurance policy, my health insurance policy, does not go skyrocket, that cost doesn't go through the roof, which is what's going to happen within the next 2 weeks if we don't address the issue. And yet, my Republicans are MIA. They won't sit down to negotiate with us.
What about with the president? The president made some comments yesterday that he wanted affordable health care coverage as well. Are any plans to sit down with the president?
Anytime he wants to sit down, I will be the first one in line to go to the White House, and also so will my leadership. We are ready to sit down with the president to negotiate, but frankly, he's refused to sit down with us, and more importantly, the Republicans who control the House and the Senate also are refusing to sit down. Remember, Speaker Johnson has not even called the House of Representatives back into session in 18 days.
All right, Senator Tammy Duckworth, thank you as always for joining us from Washington, and we will be right back with more news right after this.